Welcome to Music's the Hang Up. In this episode, we have a special guest, Strawberry Station. It seems everywhere I look in the future funk scene, I see this guy hanging around, and I've been recommended to talk to him. I like his music a lot, and so I'm proud to get him onto the show. The song you hear in the background is Shine Again by Strawberry Station. Welcome to the show. We have Strawberry Station on.
Hello.
Go ahead and let everybody know what you're about.
Hey there, everybody. Yeah, I'm Strawberry Station. I am a future funk artist from Leicester in the UK. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to being on the show and kind of talking about everything to do with me, I guess, and all the cool people in the scene.
Yeah, for sure. How did you get started in the scene? I see your name's pretty much in all the community forums and the Discords and everything. How did it all get started?
It has become a bit of an obsession, I suppose, but it's one of those things. I mean, it sounds generic, but it kind of all stemmed from kind of hearing hit vibes for the first time at my friend's place like a few years ago, and it was more vaporwave to start with. I made like this short-lived attempt to make vaporwave, got bored, and tried my hand at future funk as well, and it's all kind of snowballed from there. I mean, my very first album came out about a year ago this month. Since then, it's just kind of got crazier and crazier, and there's been more and more people listening to it, and yeah, it's just been really sweet. The whole thing's been a whirlwind, and I'm really enjoying being a part of the scene.
Right. You said you started about a year ago. That was future funk or both future funk and vaporwave?
Well, the vaporwave thing that I did was technically under Strawberry Station as well. Okay. So that was like around like December, January 2017, 18, I suppose. Mm-hmm. But no, I only really kind of established the name and started to kind of make future funk kind of around February, March last year. So started off having no idea what I was doing, and just posting stuff to the cauldron that is the Future Funk Discord. No, not Discord. Sorry, the subreddit, and getting absolutely slated on there. The problem is I don't like to be I like to prove people wrong. So rather than kind of run away with my tail between my legs, I've kind of knuckled down and tried to actually learn how to do it. So yeah, it's been a bit of a learning curve, but it's nice to know that I'm at a point now where people are enjoying my music, and I'm just trying to improve it every time I go in and make a new song.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. How did you start off with this name, Strawberry Station? What was the idea behind that?
It doesn't really have any meaning to it, I suppose. Strawberries are just a fruit that I like, I suppose. And I like trains, so stations.
Yeah.
Train station. One of the other things was obviously with the whole kind of Japanese aesthetic of it all, it was an easy thing to spell in Japanese, you know, the kind of Ichigo Eki kind of thing that I put in with it as well. Sometimes it goes in a lot of my album art, and yeah, it just looked good on paper, so I kind of stuck with it, and it's another one of those things that's just become kind of entrenched in me as an artist, I suppose.
So I know a lot of future funk artists, they have a attraction to Japanese aesthetic and all that kind of stuff. What got you into that?
I've always been interested in it. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't slightly weeby in that respect.
Sure.
But, you know, it's one of those things where I've always been fascinated by it kind of growing up. And so when I've kind of got into future funk and kind of seen all kind of the Japanese artwork and stuff around there, I thought, oh, that's really cool. I want to do stuff like that. I know some people moan about kind of like the association of like the Japanese anime aesthetic with future funk, but I just consider it like part of the wider scene. You know, not everybody has to put some random bikini-clad anime babe on their album art. I like it. It just reminds me of like growing up watching stuff like, you know, like Pokemon, Beyblade, Dragon Ball Z, that sort of thing. And to be honest, being in the scene has ended up making me go back and start watching more anime and reading manga again. So it's kind of got me back into it, really. Whereas in the past, it was kind of something that I just kind of always liked, but kind of kept at arm's length. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, now you're really part of it. Who's the girl in the icon that you use on Twitter and like
the
Discord?
brown-haired girl. She's kind of like an OC, I guess. Like I know a lot of people like School Tiyama and Hideko have been kind of getting their own OC. I was just kind of scribbling, trying to draw some artwork when I was doing Strawberry Dreams, and kind of just drew her. And I thought, oh, actually, that looks pretty good. I can go with that. So again, it's one of those things where it just kind of happened, and I've kind of liked it ever since. A cool guy called Het Silver put me in touch with an artist called Sophie, the Heskets, and she ended up drawing her for the Christmas EP that I did at the end of last year. Right. I liked it so much that I went back and got her to do another one for the new album, Yesterday's Jam. So it's kind of, again, I think it's nice to kind of have that and kind of have like a character that you could associate with your music.
Right. And what was the decision behind using a female or a male character?
Because she's cute. Yeah. I guess. No other reason. I really liked, it was just, initially it was just scribbling, and I thought, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. But then kind of when, I think it was almost a surprise when I got her drawn for Christmas one, because I wasn't expecting it. I think Het kind of put in the commission on my behalf, kind of as a surprise or a Christmas present or something. When it came out, I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I can roll with this. And I think that's one of the sweetest things about being in the community is there are a lot of genuinely cool people out there. So yeah, if you're listening to this, Het, thank you for doing that, and the same to you, Sophie, for drawing it, because yeah, it's it's part of my DNA now. So thanks.
So back to the origin, what albums and artists stand out to you most that inspire you as a future funk artist?
Well, if I go back to the classics, obviously I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for Hit Vibes. I know that's a bit of a meme answer, but it's honestly true that is the album that got me into future funk in the first place. I heard it maybe like 2 or 3 years in, so I've kind of been listening to it since about like 2016. Again, it's like the kind of French house vibes that future funk gives off as well, because I can remember stuff like Mojo, Room 5, Daft Punk being on the radio growing up, and that was kind of very much part of the pop music when I was kind of a kid and growing up. So I've always kind of liked that sort of dance music as opposed to, like your grime and your EDM and stuff. And it's always really spoken to me. In terms of artists nowadays, I think there's a lot of really creative guys out there that are making some really cool stuff. People like EVXI, Mare, School to Yama, and there's loads more. It's quite remarkable, really, because it's such it's a tight knit community. It's not the biggest music community in the world, but there are so many creative minds out there. I mean, as we sit here speaking to you now, it's like the day after the Essentials show that was going on in Toronto.
Yeah.
A lot of really cool guys were putting on a hell of a show yesterday. I was watching the live stream on Real Love Music. I just aspire to be like on the level of those guys one day, because they are honestly putting out some really sweet stuff. Yeah, hopefully I'll meet some of them in the near future.
So I guess you're kind of in this stage where you're huge in the community, but you haven't blasted off with your music yet. How are you going to get there? What is your plan to get to that level where you're starting to tour and all that kind of stuff? Or is that even something you want to do?
Oh, yeah. I suppose in terms of doing that, I've been talking with some of the guys in kind of the UK scene, folks like Melanade and EV, funnily enough, and Mr. Wax. We're kind of toying with it in the early stages of trying to set up a similar show in the UK, because it's something that's never really happened before. Because I think part of the joy of it is that it's quite a global scene, but at the same time, in localized sense, it's something where the demand seems to be there for the live shows. But apart from kind of the big fish like Young Bay, Matt Cross, and Night Tempo, there isn't really that much going on in terms of live sets and DJing and stuff. And it's something that's going to be very daunting to me, because I've never DJed in my life. But I'm really looking forward to doing it. Jelly Bonbons kindly offered to teach me how to do it. So hopefully by the time summer rolls around and we've got a set date for it, I might actually know what I'm doing.
That's cool. What was the first song that actually got you traction, that started getting more people interested in your music?
Well, the first 2 albums, and I'm glad I've got rid of them now, were absolute trash. I won't lie about that fact. And I'm glad I got rid of it. Songs that I started to put out for the Strawberry Dreams album that kind of kicked everything off, I suppose. Strawberry Milkshake still seems to be getting a lot of listens now, and that one on SoundCloud, that was the first song that really kind of blew up, I suppose. Yes! I wasn't entirely sure what was going on, to be honest. I kind of woke up one morning and found like 40 likes and like 10 comments on it. I was like, what?
Wow.
Why are you listening to my music? Go and listen to somebody else's. There's better people out there. It got more interesting when Alan from Chorusspec told me that he'd seen me trying to do a homebrew version of the tape for the album.
Yeah.
And basically, he saw what I was doing and offered to step in.
So is that how you got connected with Chorusspec?
Essentially, yeah, he reached out to me, which was awesome. And again, it's just another example of some of the really cool people in the community. Not necessarily just the artists, but a lot of the other people out there, you know, the promoters and the label artists and the people out there that are helping put Future Funk on the map in terms of physical media as well as digital. Honestly, it was completely out of the blue, but he kind of asked me if I was planning on releasing the tapes anytime soon, because I'd put out a picture on Twitter of kind of the mock-up that I'd made. I'd ordered a few kind of blank tapes off the internet and printed out the J cards myself and kind of made them. It didn't sound the best thing in the world, but it was just a fun little project for me. I was planning to maybe sell 20 or so of them. Family holiday in Blackpool, which is like the UK's answer to Las Vegas, but worse. And he starts messaging me while I'm sat in this bar, and it was just one of the most surreal moments of my life, because I was stood in this bar that I'm still convinced might have been a gay bar. There was a gay stag do going on at the time, so there were a load of like blokes wandering around in togas and stuff, like dancing to Celine Dion or whatever was on. And at the same time, I'm sat down in the corner, hammering out what turned out to be a record contract.
Wow.
So, that was a surreal moment in my life. We had a lot of discussions, and he was nothing but good to me. And I wasn't sure at that time that there was even that much interest in my music, but we ended up doing it. He went through with it, and the tape sold out in 4 days, a run of like 75 copies, which was way above and beyond what I thought it would ever sell out as.
And what was that like, selling out of cassettes? Like, one, it's already on physical media, and then it sells out.
Yeah, it blew my mind. It really did. Because at that point I'd put 2 albums out that in hindsight I was probably kind of jumping the gun a bit, and on that third one I'd kind of had a few comments saying, your music's not there yet, your music's not ready, and I was unsure of whether people were going to kind of take kindly to it. Back to the drawing board. I learnt a few new kind of techniques and stuff, and when Chorusspec kind of came on board and said that they were going to do it, I was amazed, because they just got off the phone with people like EVEXI, Unibeat, and Neo Kobe. It was like why are you coming to me? But it's like my stuff, and it sold. So I've never looked back, really. It's just again another person that I can't thank enough, really, because I wouldn't be in the position I am now without him.
And for those that don't know, it reached number 2 on Bandcamp, right? It blew up.
Yeah, it did. It just went crazy. We mentioned that. I mean, we had a recent release as well. We did Yesterday's Jam on Gulf Audio. It was a slightly smaller run. It was only 50 copies, but we put it out, did a live stream on Vape and Memories channel, I think it was. And again, I was thinking, it might, I imagine we'll sell the full run of 50. We made sure not to go too high, thinking, give it a day or two.
Sure.
We might sell these out. Started selling them at 5 a.m. my time. By 7 o'clock, they'd all sold out.
Wow.
And nobody I knew in Europe managed to get a copy because everyone was asleep. I managed to get myself up, drag myself out of bed super early, sell them. And again, just blew my mind. I couldn't believe how many people wanted a copy. To those listening, don't worry, we will do a second run once we've got the first ones out.
Good. That's good to know. Did you get a chance to grab a copy of your own?
Yeah, hopefully. He has said that I will get a copy or two through the post. So eventually I will see the fruits of my labour.
Yeah, awesome.
Hopefully. Yeah.
So for, future funk artists that are just getting started, or they're trying to go to that next level where they do get some physical media of their music, what kind of advice do you have for them?
you don't want to like push it too much with kind of the self promotion. I think a lot of artists kind of come out and they're like, "Wow, I've got this sweet new album. I'm gonna just go to Discord and just spam it everywhere." And don't get me wrong, that is a good thing to do at times. But what you have to do, and the best thing to do, is to be involved in the community, talk to people, and be willing to take kind of constructive criticism. I mean, I know for a fact I'm nowhere near the finished article yet, and there are some people out there that make some amazing music that's truly professional in its quality. You have people out there like Fiverr who are basically professional level masterers and recording artists. And again, I aspire to be at that level one day, and I know I'm not there yet, but it's a learning process, and I'm learning new stuff all the time. And there is a community of really tight-knit, good people out there that will teach you like little tips and techniques and stuff that will make you sound better. Mm-hmm. So yeah, embrace the community, use it, because we always want to hear kind of new artists and new blood coming through, because ultimately the genre needs to stay dynamic and not get stale.
Right. It's kind of interesting that you came into this scene about a year ago, and now you're giving veteran advice. I guess it's a fast-paced movie.
Yeah. Again, I don't claim to be a veteran of any description, but yeah, it just moves so fast. I mean, it's I said it was a whirlwind, and I really do stand by that. Kind of going from this just kind of weird kid, just making very lame dance music in his spare time, to somebody that for some reason people want to actually buy album copies of and organize God knows what with, and it's just crazy. I can't get my head around it, and it just gets crazier all the time. I've mentioned to a few people, but I'm actually moving to Canada next year. Okay. From the UK. It was just one of those dumb decisions that I made. I decided I'd apply for a working visa, and lo and behold, I actually got one. So when I go next year, my hopes would be to kind of hook up with and meet a load more interesting musicians and people from the scene and stuff, and hopefully more collaborations and kind of shows and stuff will follow.
Speaking of which, do you have anything you want to talk about in the coming 2019 year, as any projects or?
Well, again, there's the show that I mentioned earlier, and I think that's kind of the main thing that my mind's set on at the moment. Organising it with the likes of kind of Melonade, Conscious Thoughts, Tanuki, and hopefully we'll be able to get the ball rolling on that soon and tell you more about it. But early doors plan is something in kind of summer 2019. So watch this space, and hopefully once we've kind of got a venue and a solid date, we'll be able to try and start to slip out a little more information to you guys.
Would that be in Canada or the UK?
No, it'll be in the UK. I'm not going to Canada till next year, but yeah, we'll see what happens next year with Canada. Hopefully, I've got a bit more experience under my belt, and more cool people want to hang out and like do stuff, make some sweet music. I'd love to meet up with some guys while I'm out there. Probably just going to keep making music, and then when an album's ready, I'll drop it, and you guys can check it out.
Sure. Yeah, and we'll definitely report on that. Is there anyone that you really want to collaborate with? It seems like you haven't really done that yet.
It's tough. There's a lot of artists that I really respect and kind of look up to. I like the artists that really know how to kind of put their mark on a sample and really change it and make it their own, because of course it's a sample heavy genre. I've mentioned folks like Mare and EVXI. They are both artists that I really respect and would love to work with at some point, purely because they have that knack of being able to make songs genuinely sound their own. So I really like. I've got a lot to learn.
Now that you put it out there, maybe now the words are there, so someone might contact you.
Yeah, we'll see. You know where to find me, guys. Yeah, Discord.
Sure. Speaking of Discord, I don't know if you know this, but we have our own Discord for the podcast, and
sweet.
I put out there to just the community, and I asked what kind of questions would you guys like to know, and so we got some back. And do you mind if I ask them?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I don't know if you know Hatina.
Yes. Yeah, Australia's answer to Pad Chennington.
Is that right? He wants to know question. Do you want to collab? So there goes one person that might be interested
Yeah.
in with you. So
Yes. Why
you don't,
not?
you don't have to answer right away, but I'm just letting you know that. The next one, Loomsynth. He wants to know what DAW you're using and why.
I use FL20. I only very recently upgraded it from 10 because I was using like some rickety old version. I've just always had it. I got it for Christmas from like my parents like 6 or 7 years ago, so it's just something I've always used.
6 or 7 years ago. Is that like a reoccurring? Like you buy it once and then you have it forever? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. You get the barcode and you get free upgrades for life. I just never bothered to upgrade it until about 4 weeks ago. So there you go.
And that's it. The two questions, but
Sweet.
one that I had for myself was how do you find your samples? Where do you go about making this sound? And
I'm really getting into kind of actual doing like record shop dips and looking for albums there. I mean, what I'll do is I'll often go and buy just a bunch of like vinyls or tapes and stuff, listen through them, and kind of pick out songs that I really like, and then try and obviously source the original MP3s from somewhere like, well, not the MP3s, rather, I should say FLACs. You should always go for the highest quality you can.
sure.
From something like Soulseek, I suppose, is probably the best place to get it. Obviously, if you can't get it, use kind of YouTube rips as kind of a last resort, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's something I've done in the past as well, and kind of stopped doing. Slapped myself on the wrist, and that's definitely a tip that I'd give to any new producers: is always try and get the highest quality sample that you can, because you just end up losing a lot of dynamism from the final product.
Do you have a drum kit that you always go to, like that makes your sound?
I like the Amherst drums. I still use a lot of the kind of stock ones from FL Studio as well. I like to I like to mix it up. I like to get different packs, so like Amherst, Phonetics. I got this kind of sweet kind of big folder with like loads of different drum samples from different ones. Like your Lynn drums or your different Rolands from the past as well. I've got way too many to get through. I couldn't tell you exactly which ones I use because I just switch it up all the time. So,
Well, we're starting to wrap it up here. A
sweet.
couple more questions about just where you're taking this project in the future. What major goals do you have?
In terms of major goals, I guess something that I tried in recent kind of months and stuff was kind of moving away from samples and using like entirely original instrumentation. I did a song called Brand New Path that went out on Discord, which was Bandcamp, which was just an attempt to kind of go at making something from scratch rather than relying on samples, because obviously as you develop as an artist and stuff, you kind of put yourself above the parapet, so to speak, in terms of using samples. It's not the best thing to be doing, really. So I would like to get to a point where I can make my own music from scratch and people are happy to listen to it, really.
Interesting. Did you know Crystal Cola? He does all of that from scratch.
Yeah, and he's got some really cool stuff. He's one of those artists that I've kind of picked up through SoundCloud at times, and has got some really sweet stuff.
For your fans out there, do you have anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, thank you for supporting me for the past year and buying my music when it was rubbish. I hope it's a bit better for you guys now. If anybody actually bought like not yesterday's jam, last summer, or Get Up Stand Up, and they didn't get a download code, pester me on Bandcamp and I'll send you on. And I hope you look forward to more sweet music. And if there's anyone out there that wants to collaborate, I'm here.
I know this is not on the list, but do you have any weird fan stories?
Weird fan stories? No, I guess I am the weird fan story. I'm just some random that used to lurk on the subreddit that ended up actually making some future funk, and look at me now.
Yeah.
Give it a go, kids.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, where can people find you to wrap this up here?
I've got a Bandcamp, SoundCloud. I do have a YouTube, but I don't use it. I do have a Facebook, I don't use it. And you can normally find me lurking around various Discords and stuff. and on Reddit. You'll find me easily enough. If you look for Future Funk or just Google me or whatever, you'll find my stuff.
That's why I was saying in the beginning, you're all over the scene. It's hard to go anywhere without finding this. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm very much part of the furniture nowadays. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any final last words then?
No, again, just like thank you all. Thanks for having me on the show, and I'm glad people are enjoying the music.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks.
Well, thanks Strawberry Station for coming on the show. I really enjoyed that. I know it was an anticipated episode, and I think that went awesome. If you enjoyed this, go find him on Twitter at StrawberryStat1. I'll put a link in the description so you can find him and check him out. If you like this kind of thing, I interview future funk and vaporwave artists. You can find the episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Recently, I started uploading weekly episodes to YouTube on all the news, future funk, and vaporwave. You can find all this at Music's the Hang Up. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Music's the Hang Up. And if you want to catch new episodes, you can check it out at musicsthehangup.com. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, give us a review or hang out with me on Discord. A lot of the artists that I talk to hang out there. We're trying to get a community going. Until next time, I'm going to let one of Strawberry Station's songs play us off. Cheers.